Welcome. Welcome to this now moment. Welcome to the beautiful souls that are in this container in this now moment. Welcome to you that are joining us in the field of your now moment. We are here in this love light chat, this sacred conversation with my beautiful co-host and soul sister, Alva, Baltimore. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Ann Jonas, aka the Love Messenger. I exist as I am. I hold space for beingness, for recognizing the presence within, and for honoring the life that we be and that we live. And I'm celebrating that we are here in this space, in this container, with our hearts and our vision. And our vision is not only through our eyes, it's through our presence. And we are here because this moment is about freeing ourselves, like this moment on the planet, this moment as awakening human consciousness, this moment as beingness, sovereignty, recognizing that we have been a consciousness and a humanity that has danced within the parameters of aspects of control and fear. And when we celebrate that we are love, that is our freedom. And sometimes these are words, right? These are words that it's important to hear. And then there's the way that we have these words come into our beingness. And that's what this time together today is about, is witnessing words, witnessing presence, honoring that we are here as sovereign beings of choice. And that goes all the way back to you being a brand new baby, like you being on the planet as this. And every version of you that is here simultaneously in any other dimension, any past lives, any future presence, all of it is a choice to build, expand, and be with all that you are, all that we are, all the oneness. Yes. Pew! It's that mind-blowing thing. Like I love to say I'm grateful and bewildered. And that brings in all of that, like blow your mind. And it's not unbelievable. You know why it's not unbelievable? You believe it to be. As you believe it to be, it is being. You are being with what is being. And we're going to play there today and honor. So I'm bringing in my sister over here, Alva, to share a little bit about her and how we came to be in this dance of recognizing how freeing ourselves, as she was the co-host with that theme on round 9 of Sacred Connection. And we're taking it to the next level here.
Thank you.
Welcome, sister.
Thank you all for being here, wherever your now is, whenever you are with us. We are always one. So Ann tells she's the love messenger, and I say I'm the ambassador of love and freedom and love. Because to me, they're the same, right? If I'm being the love that I am, that I'm experiencing freedom. If freedom is my priority, then I'm showing up as love, because there's no right or wrong. There's just different expressions, right? One of my favorite quotes is by Bono. He says, "To be one may be great, but to honor each other's differences may be greater." And there's a beautiful freedom in that. So I grew up thinking that my happiness and my peace and my freedom was outside of me. I grew up thinking that it was attached to, a title behind my name, or something like a college degree, or the amount of money you have. If you live in a certain house, you drive a certain car, you're married, you have the 2.2 children. Although that really wasn't me, you know what I mean? But like, for years and years and years and years and years, I chased it. And so life was happening to me all the time, not for me, because as Ann just said, it's done unto us as we believe, right? And so I'm trying to think, the first crack in that armor was in 2005 when I went to see Byron Katie, and she shared the Albert Einstein quote, but her version of it. And his quote says, the most important question a human being can ever answer is the universe friendly? Well, she said, is the universe kind? And I was 42. And I remember thinking, I've lived in an unfriendly universe, an unkind universe for 42 years. What if I devote the next 42 years to living in a kind universe? And that was a really pivotal moment that changed my life. And doing her work, or the work, because she doesn't call it her work, it was either I was choosing peace or freedom, or I was choosing hell and bondage. You know what I mean? And so that really started this exploration. And the closer I got to 60, and it's not about age at all, I've had health stuff off and on since childhood. I had a stroke when I was 25. I was in a major car accident. I've had to learn how to walk 3 times as an adult, like from scratch, all over again, to stand, you know, and it's very humbling if you're a little bit conscious. It's devastating when I go unconscious. And I realized one day I was taking a walk, and I was not happy about taking this walk because my body doesn't glide when I walk. You know, it's chunky and it hurts and all the crap, right? And my foot, I like to walk barefoot and I love to feel the dirt. I don't like hard stuff. But anyway, my left foot, and this is the side right now that still is very different, um, hit the dirt. It had rained. And I wasn't grumbling out loud, but I was grumbling inside. And I have this beautiful friend who is paralyzed from the chest down. And I said, I bet he would trade places with you in a New York minute. And I thought, that's it. I'm done. I'm done being attached to when my body is this, when my health is this. And all of a sudden, I realized that I was making my freedom conditional, right? And I was only free if all the conditions were right. And I was in prison. I might be walking down the street, but basically I was in a 5x5 cell. I don't know what size the cell is, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I realized that. And I remember one moment before that too, in June of 2006. I was going through a foreclosure and I was house sitting for a friend, and I was watching a whole bunch of Gongaji, the big old VHS tapes, you know, and and a whole bunch of Byron Katie. And I watched this one that was called Prisoner of the Mind. You guys, I was a sniveling mess because I realized that I was living in prison. And that was a really impactful moment. I was like, oh my God, I'm out here thinking I'm freer than them and I'm more bound than them. You know what I mean? And so that, like, it was just like, I feel like the universe just keeps bringing me back, like just these little tiny everyday ways where we just toss our freedom aside and be like, oh, you know, we follow the crazy thought that so and so said this, or they did this, or that's disrespectful, or whatever. And now, I'm not saying that things don't happen, but I can experience them in freedom. And then it's a whole different experience. So that's what brought Anne and I together. She's the love messenger. I love Ram Dass and his, you know, guru Maharaji. And I actually was just listening to them this morning because I got my panties in a wad for like a half a second. And I was like, really? You're about to get on the love line? Come on. And I tried to snap myself out of it. And then I was like, stop, just stop. They're just thoughts passing through. You are experiencing sensations in the body. I said, I'm going to eat a couple of mangoes. I'm going to sit down. And I was intending on doing it in silence. And I picked up my phone. Ram Dass popped up. I clicked on the live, and he was talking about an experience with Maharaji. And I'll say more about that later. But why I had Maharaji as my screensaver for years was his things like, just meditate like Jesus, lose yourself in love. And the second I heard him say something about Maharaji, it was just like, I knew that experience, like, it was just a big old story. that I was about to go down the rabbit hole and make up and separate me from someone that I love, take something personal that wasn't personal. You know, it was a woman talking and a woman listening.
It's
And this woman was starting to listen to it through some bars that were going to enclose me. And that's what brought us together today. Like, I have a group called Freeing Ourselves. I talk about freedom all the time. I try to share with people, no matter what we're experiencing in this world, whether it's the president, whether it's a war, whether it's our color of our skin, whatever, the body, you know, relationships, we are as free as we choose to be. Might not always be easy, but it's our freedom never disappears until we shut it down, until we close us in.
and we be here now.
Yes, yes. Well, you have to be
You
here now,
brought,
right, to choose your
but
freedom.
well, you don't have to. That's a choice,
Yeah,
right? That is that place. And you brought through Ram Dass, who is the essence of that message, be here now. And something else you brought forth, you mentioned Bono. I'm a Gen Xer, so 80s baby. And well, I was born in 69, but like in high school in the 80s. And so you too was a huge part of my life. And that song One recently
mm,
came through for me. And those two pieces, Be Here Now, U2, Bono, they are the umbrella of this essence of life is a series of synchronicities.
yes,
It's
100%.
our choice to see them as such.
Hmm.
And these are the places that call us, is deeper is the word that's coming in, but almost in a deeper and clearer into the presence, because we have shifted away from judgment into allowing,
Yes.
and that place of being with, choosing you, allowing for,
Mm.
celebrating all.
Yes, yes, yes.
And that place, I love that you brought forth, because that is the ego that speaks into, I'm having a bad day. And there's a choice to say, if I tell myself I'm having a bad day, guess what, baby? You are having a bad day.
Absolutely.
There's a place to say, okay, this is a challenging moment. I am in discomfort. I am feeling pain. Maybe I'm not feeling the human body prime wellness. Maybe there was a conversation or an interaction that didn't go as you would have desired. And this is the freeing that we're here to deepen into today and
Yes.
forever, because this is the now moment of your rest of your life, is to play with how might these experiences, and this is the other thing, that we aren't going to compare. We're not going to compare somebody else's amazing life. We're not going to compare somebody else's tragedies. All of that is information for us to be witness and to feel beyond these human senses:
Yes.
smell, touch, taste, hearing. What's the other one? Seeing, right? Like, what are we seeing? Are we seeing through these eyes? I mean, we see what we design,
100%.
right? So, and we're all here on the United States of America, Earth, and there are people on other parts of this planet that see life in a very different way. Not because of education, not because of religion, not because of government, but because they chose to be in that part of the earth, in that story, right? And so I love that this piece, the aspects outside of ourselves, they are here as information. And we are here as God. And as we allow and choose, we be.
So true. So true. So
So
true.
that, so what does it mean to feel free? I mean, this is what we're talking about. What is freedom? It's nothing to do with what color you are and whether or not you feel that you are safe, right? So about 100 years ago, there was a person on this planet who had an idea, and that idea led to an entire movement. This is a non-judgmental like expression of this, a movement to shift the population. So we're talking about Mr. Hitler himself.
Mm-hmm.
And what came from his birth of an idea became a movement of a community, of a of a government, of a whole series of governments. And then it called forth the World War, which was a world awakening.
Yes.
And it has been in our history. Okay, so check this out. History. Hi, story.
Yes. Yes. I love that high story.
I love this idea of the reframe that our history happened to us. We get to say hi, story, as it's happening with and through us, as
Hmm.
us.
And for us.
And well, 100%, right? Life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. That's because you chose it. And so these are these places that our freedom comes from recognizing that we are free, not because somebody gave us freedom. And this is so beautiful. So I love that we're playing here this idea of we are, we have allowed judgment to seep into our being. We have allowed it. It's part of the human condition. It's how our parents felt, our grandparents, our lineage, our communities. And that it felt unconscious. It felt like we couldn't, no, that's not the word I want to say. It felt like we couldn't get out of it, right? It
Hmm.
felt
Hmm.
that way. And so this is an opportunity. We are breaking out of the cage, out of the cell, out of the mind.
Yes. Out of the mind. Yes. 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 You say something really important there. We're breaking out, and which is another reason for this conversation, this playground, right? You know how like when you're kids and you play with somebody or you play with the playground, but you don't want to go to that playground anymore. There's no story about it. It's just like, no, I don't want to go to that one, right? But then as grown-ups, like this relationship was this playground, or this job was this playground, or this house was this playground. You know what I mean? Freedom is, oh, that was fun, let's go see the next one. Or maybe that wasn't fun, right? Maybe there was too much sand, or I don't know, what are those wood chips, or you know what I mean, that they have there or whatever, and they're just not comfortable when you're working barefoot, you know what I mean? Or the playground that has no shade or covering whatsoever. And I live in Texas, and so when it's hot, baby, you know what I mean? So freeing ourselves in the day to day is, I like to ask myself, where am I holding myself up? Where am I blocking myself in? Or where am I blocking love out? Where am I blocking God out? Where am I not, and I really keep going back to childhood. Yes, I have two grandloves, 8 and 4, that they mean the world to me right now. They feel like my biggest teachers, right? Because they don't make up a story. They'll be like, my daughter will be like, why don't you want to play with that anymore? I don't. I just don't want to. And he's very unapologetic, and he's on about his business. And if you keep pestering him, you're not going to get, he's going to give you a very emphatic no. But it's like, there's just no baggage about it. You know what I mean? Like the thing I want to go back to where you said history. What story am I telling myself about this interaction and this experience, right? Is it, and something that's come to me recently is to say, is this feeding my freedom? Or is this feeding bondage? Is this feeding my peace? Is this feeding my health? Right? Like, because we tend to think of feeding in terms of food, but as Anne was saying, the mind and the thoughts and our conversations, what we watch, what we listen to, what is that feeding in us? Is it feeding fear or is it feeding love? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying you can't, because we went through a Pentecostal phase in my family. So, you couldn't listen to secular music, and I could only skate for Christian skate or something weird like that, gospel music skate or something strange, when you're a teenager. That's like, what? Kind of thing. And anyway, where I was going with that is, oh man, there's just so much coming through right now. What I was going with that is like, even in that, like, instead of focusing on it had to be this kind of music, I was skating with my friends. Like, how bad could it be? You know what I mean? You're eating pizza and you're drinking pop or whatever, we are doing or whatever. So that freedom is, it's what is the story that I'm creating right where I am in this moment? Am I missing this delicious moment because this person is, this thing and that? I'm just finding that we just have all these little bars, all these little cages, all these little ways. And then this is something else I've been saying a lot lately, and then I'll be quiet so y'all can talk. I say, like, we're boxing love out, we're boxing life out, we're boxing out the beauty. But if you're boxing something out, the flip side is we're boxing ourselves in. And I don't know about y'all, I don't want to live in any boxes. So I'm
I
constantly trying to get.
love this, Alva. And guess what has come through from what you offered? Commitment. Commitment. These, like you, okay, with the kids at the park, right? They're like, I don't want to go because it doesn't, like, it hurts my feet. But the adult mind says, well, that's the park that we've committed to going to. That's where we meet people. I've committed to a job that I'm going to go to. I've committed to, you said Pentecostal. Recently, I saw something, pentagram. Hello, pentagram. Pentagram, Pentecostal, like it's all reflection, right? It's what direction do you want to look at it, heads or tails?
Yes, yes,
Pentagram's all witchy woo, right? And all in that realm. But Pentecostal rejects that whole world, right? And
yes,
yet they're the same thing because they're the same darn shape, right? So this idea of the commitment. What did we do when you go to jail? What happens to you? You're committed.
yep,
You've been committed. When you're put into a container where you're outside the box, you're not playing in the rules that we like. You're a little bit on the crazy side. You are committed. Right? This
yes,
is
yes,
that freedom? No, that's not freedom. Crazy people, what unite, right? Like we're waving the flag here, rainbow unicorn stuff. And crazy is more tapped in. Bottom
yeah,
bottom line. A neurodivergent population. I'm not saying that autistic are crazy. I'm not going there. I'm saying that that's outside the box. It's outside the box. They are not in a cage, and yet the perception from a well-developed human would say they're behind. They're not developing normally. They're not in the program. They can't take care of themselves. They can't go to school. They can't have a job because they don't play by the same rules of commitment. So they've been committed to this life of less than. They have more freedom
yes,
than a person who's playing by the rules because they're outside the box and they're tapped in, tuned in, and turned on
yes, yes, yes,
to their inner vibration
yes,
that
yes.
doesn't fit in the world of commitments. If
Mhm.
they were living in the world on the island of the autistic beautifulness, they'd all be happy campers because there would be no one perceiving them as anything other than greatness.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you say something there again, very, very poignant about the commitment and the committed. What am I committed to? Like, now that's another
Who and
question.
who am I committed to?
Yes.
It's like the who of the I am.
Yes.
And am I
Yes.
committed to my journey?
Yes, that's exactly where I was going with it. Like, am I still operating unconsciously on autopilot? Am I still following someone else's dream? Or just like this morning with the upset, right? Wait a minute, am I committed to love and freedom? Okay, this does not feel like love and freedom right now. You know what I mean? This feels like turbulence. Well, why is it feeling like turbulence? You said this earlier, just a little bit. This is something else that's been very poignant with me on this path. Where am I seeing from?
Mhm.
Am I seeing through the eyes of love? Am I seeing through the eyes of freedom, or am I seeing through the eyes of judgment? And you mentioned comparison very briefly through that. Like, comparison is always going to be the death of joy. And I was laughing. My roommate was laughing. I was like, "Isn't it funny? We never say, why doesn't this blade of grass look like that blade of grass?" Or it's spring here, right? And there's flowers everywhere. Nobody says, well, I think the dianthus should look like, the whatever, the irises. No, we don't do that. You either pick the ones you like, or you're like, oh, I want a little bit of all of it. And so it's like, I'm really playing with this. We are nature. I feel like nature has so much to teach us. You know what I mean? Just about like,
Especially in this dimensional experience. Okay. So
yes.
when we recognize the freedom to be ourselves, we recognize that we chose this human container, this
Mm-hmm,
earth school. And there are aspects of the earth school that we feel have taken our freedoms, that they are the fear based, they are control. The other aspect of this earth school is what you're speaking into, the nature of it, the earth herself, the essence of, and it's funny, I love that I always have like show and tell. Here we go, like all the elements right here, because the idea is that when we allow this elemental journey to inform our senses beyond, our senses beyond. I love that you brought the flowers in. I love saying this idea of the leaves in fall, in autumn. And
yes.
there's not any leaf that says to the other leaf, "Oh, you're the go-getter. You're the first one to fall." Or like, "Hey, are you afraid? Like, why won't you join the on the ground party of the leaves?" Right? They are being with. Another aspect of being with in the realm of the human experience is birth and death. And
Mm-hmm,
as a
mm-hmm.
birth doula, as a witnesser of birth, as having given birth to my own daughter, get out of the way. It is, and so when you see animals, I happened to just see on Facebook last night. I don't know where they were. They were somewhere out in African nature situation, and they were on a tour, and they were looking at giraffes, and all of a sudden, a zebra lies down in the road and births a baby.
Oh my God.
There's no special situation, no lighting, no music, and this is a birth doula. No team showed up. Mama laid down, baby came out. It was oh, and
Phenomenal,
here's the
right?
thing, it goes the same way when we leave our earthly form.
Mm-hmm,
We are
mm-hmm.
celebrated on the other side, and we do it on our own. We be with it as ourself, as the oneness. This is it, freeing ourselves. We free. Brenda's off mute. Brenda's got something to say. I love it. Bring it,
Jump
baby.
on in
I love
there.
you.
And the other side doesn't care what our physical body looks like. So why do we want to put our physical body in a box?
Mhm.
Yes, for however long we're here, we want to be as healthy as we can be
Absolutely.
without judgment, without, I have to do it this way, or I have to look this way, or I have to wear something that's, nicer than a, fleece jacket or, whatever.
Nicer than the
That,
whoobies, right? We got the whoobies.
yeah,
Yes,
that's
exactly.
something, and I have an Earth Day shirt on. you know, so
You got Africa in there. I see your elephants.
I love elephants. They're one of my favorites, along with sea turtles, real
Mm,
opposites.
both
But
potent.
yeah. And I love the thought about commitment because to me, it's a double-sided coin. Because it really is about, for me, am I committed to my personal journey, whatever that journey is that the divine is leading me on, or am I committed to following the herd?
Mhm. Yep.
And at times we do need to follow the herd for our safety or whatever. And it's about making a conscious choice to do that. You know, like part of the herd that Jacqueline's following right now is the lines in the road, making sure she's safe as she's driving, making sure that she's, you know, stopping at stop lights and stop signs. And that's for the greater good of all, you know, so it's really finding that balance. I I want another word than balance, and I'm not being given it right now, but I think Anne's getting it or
It's
Alva's getting it.
oneness. It's
Yeah,
oneness.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. When you were
And it's
saying,
about
mhm.
being for the greater good, of which I am the center of my beingness.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Beautiful. Yes. And yes. And the other thing is, guess what, everybody? None of us getting out here alive. We're all dying. So I love that you brought that forth, right? The safety of like Jackie getting to the game so she gets to be with her family and stays on the planet, you know, and we all are here on the planet as long as we're meant to be on the planet. And you know what? Our death is freedom for somebody else. It's for the community. Like that. See, we are not alone. We are one with, and we are all representing as the presence, as the teachers, as the students. You wanted to say something, Brenda?
And we are also one with Mother Earth
Mm-hmm.
because we wouldn't be able to be here to live, to enjoy the beauty. Like we had rain here this morning, and the beauty of the light, the raindrops on the beautiful roses that I have around me in my brother's yard, and the leaves. And it just touched my heart. And because I'm part of that beauty, and we forget that. I can forget that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
why we're here. We're here as reminders for one another, which means for ourselves. Everything we are offering to the other is for us.
absolutely. Absolutely. When you were saying about for the commitment to myself and then the commitment to the larger, what came in for me, Brenda, is that my commitment to myself is a commitment to the larger, right? Because let's just say I'm committed to being right. You know what I mean? That's going to impact the larger. It depends on how do I want to impact the larger. You know what I mean? Do I want to spread more love and more light and more peace and more joy or more support? You know what I mean? Because somebody else might be going through. So what is it? One of my friends of like 30 plus years, she said, she said, I taught him how to treat me poorly, and I poorly taught him how to treat me of a marriage that was really not good for 20 years. And the flip side of that, because I don't know, I just have a brain that does that, was like, oh, we teach people how to treat us, right? And so, you know what I mean? Like, I'm toying with this thing of late, and I know you're going to say something beautiful about this, that the universe or my day or my interactions with people is an exact mirror reflection of my energy and what's happening inside, right? One of my favorite quotes is by Nikola Tesla. He says, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So for years, it was kind of like, oh, I want to clean up my vibration. I want to clean up my energy, kind of thing. But I was kind of, let me be honest, I was doing it because I wanted, some things in my life to shift, some outer things, right, to shift.
Yeah.
And now that I'm seeing everything as a mirror, the old me would have been like, oh my gosh, I would have got sad, depressed, under the covers, whatever. Now I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. Oh, I don't really believe that anymore. Okay, that's still operating. Okay, let me clean that up, kind of thing. And so it's not like it's just not like even if somebody I did customer service for 45 years and I had some really unique experiences, but I won't go there. But I will tell this one. This guy flipped me off. I'm working in Starbucks. I give him his coffee. He wouldn't get off the phone, so I got the wrong size coffee. And he flipped me off and I said, I'm happy to get you another size, but you got to get off the phone for a second so we can get it right or whatever. So he flipped me off again and he walked out. Didn't bother me, upset the customers. And I was like, hey, it's no big deal. It's not about us. He's having a bad day, whatever. Anyway, long and the short of it, several months later, he comes and I'm working the register, and I'm never working the register. I'm working the register. And he walks up to me and he goes, you don't remember me. And the second he said it, I was like, oh my God, I think this is the guy that flipped me off. And he goes, I'm really sorry. I was having a bad day. And I would say, honey, you don't owe me an apology. I knew that wasn't about me, but not like in a whatchamacallit way. This is again freeing ourselves. I could have got upset and been like, oh my God, I can't, I want my goal was to keep the flow going, because you said something earlier, Anne, about the flow, right? Life is always flowing. Freedom is choosing the flow. It really wasn't about me. It was coffee, for Pete's sake, right? And he was having a bad moment. And what a beautiful thing, because I wouldn't think, like, I didn't care if he ever came back and apologized or whatever. But like, for that to come back, and then my boss, she's in the back and she comes running out there and she goes, why is it when people are rude to you, they come back and they apologize? And I was like, I don't know, man. Maybe because they're not rude to me, like they're just having a bad moment. And I don't know who taught this to me in customer service, but they taught me you can either jump into the problem with them, or you could be part of the solution. And that means I have to commit, like you were saying, Brenda, I have to commit to myself. And the way that I commit to myself in that moment, like it ripples out. And I don't want to just say myself. I like to use qualities, because I still got cuckoo running in here too, right? That comes up. Like, I like to hold on to what it is that I value, what it is I value most. How do I want to be that in the world? Am I only going to be it when it's convenient, or am I going to try to be it all the time? So, yeah.
And
And
this is
they
okay.
remembered you because you didn't react like 95% of the people and get into their world, and you were kind and showed love and empathy, and that stuck with them the rest of the day, and it stuck with them a whole month to make sure they apologized to you. So it was very obvious, like, wow, what a shining light.
Oh,
Because most people would be like, have a grumpy face or take it personally, right?
Yeah. There's so many pieces in here. One, committing to the light. Okay. What does that mean exactly? Committing to the light. But here's the other thing. I also heard this, committing to be right. Okay. So I got this thing where some of you have heard this before. I had this magnet that I have in my fridge for years. It said, people who are right really irritate those of us who are. Like, basically, it's like this idea of me saying I'm right and you're irritating me. That's that aspect of that judgment, that from what I see outward. And so what you brought forth, Jackie, in that essence of Alva didn't need to be right. Alva was being present. And when we are present, we literally invite more presence.
ooh, I love it.
We are a living, breathing example for how we desire to have other people treat us. And the other piece of that is witnessing, recognizing, and honoring that we are all sacred contracts with and for everyone. Every moment, every person, every experience that comes into your field and you are there to witness it, it's for you. And you divined, designed, and desired to have those experiences for your growth and evolution. Freedom is saying, I did it. I did it all. I brought it all. I invited it all. I created it all. And yeah, that's some shit that I did. both ways. Like, I'm that amazing. And I'm like, oh, that's poopy pants, right? Like, this is the thing. When we make that choice to say our freedom is in our beingness, period. Not because I had a good day, not because you were being nice to me, not because it was a beautiful day outside, but as resonance, as energy. And this is a shifter. This is a consciousness shifter. And, I feel that for the most part, we all in this vibration of acknowledging this. Here's this other one, understanding. No, inner standing.
Yes.
Because if we're understanding, we're standing under, right? And here's the other thing, not out there. The dead people, the God, the self, the love, not out there. But that's what we've been trained. Even in the amazingness of the I am presence, I'm like that. And everybody's like, like this is it. How might we choose inner standing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that literally, it dissipates, like they fade, those bars, those boxes, because we are not separate from anything.
No, they dissolve. Man, and
Oh,
you
that's the word
said,
I was looking
woo,
for.
inner standing. So what came to me is like, what am I standing in? Am I standing in? Am I standing in what I believe in? Am I, how am I doing that? Wow, that's like you said a couple things there that were really powerful, and you know how fast it just kind of like all goes through that understanding.
It's all what we're ready to hear.
Yes, totally. It's all what we're ready to hear. It's all what we're ready to see, right? So I
Be
was about
ready to
15, I
be.
think, and I was walking through the living room and my mom had the TV on and she wasn't paying attention, and it was Ben Kingsley playing Gandhi. And he said, the only devils are the one that men create in their own hearts. And it stopped me in my tracks because I always felt that way, but that wasn't what and so obviously, like, I got enamored and started watching and reading about his life, and I was really struck with, I don't believe he actually really said be the change you want to see. I think I was told that his grandson basically took something and he said, and that was, the what do you call it, how you shorten it. Anyway. And for me, I took that up and I still take that up, be the experience that I want to see in the world, right? Because being the change, sometimes I might be an activist for something, but I'm not showing up peaceful or in a way that's going to really contribute to whatever it is that I want to change. But if I show up as the experience of peace, or if I show up as the experience of growth, you know what I mean? Then it's like,
Well,
it's a beautiful dance of, okay, we want this thing. And I find that when we in my experience, what we resist persists. If I push against instead of show up for something, then I'm usually not met with, there's not even a beautiful exchange of ideas that are going to lead to something along. And so I really look back on his life and different things that he did, and it was always in this forward motion that he was showing up, you know what I mean? And so I just feel like, as you said, not in comparison, but as we've talked about how life is always for us, there's so many beautiful examples of how to live the experience that we desire, that's in alignment with our highest truth, and how to stand in that and not get all swept up in what's outside.
And I love that you're talking about, look at this. It is not my business to change you or your experience or your conditions.
Ooh,
because you chose them for you. So if I'm here saying I feel that life would be better for you if you had water, okay? Or if you had a school, or if you had more money, and that was my desire.
Mhm.
I'm taking away your power. I'm stripping you of your experience. So this exchange, I love you brought that in, exchange. Let's like X the change, baby. Like X it out. There's no changing. We're not even changing ourselves. We be and we be and we be and we be here now and we be. And that is how we affect by being and offering as the essence of. And that's where the teaching and the learning comes from. Witnessing what is, feeling how it is serving. And it's all resonance. It's all resonance. Naturally, we don't think about it, but babies do. They rock. Autism, people with autism, they rock. I've been rocking a lot lately. And I'm gonna tell you something. When I'm rocking this way, I'm listening. And when I'm rocking this way, I'm sharing. That's what I've discerned. Discerned. Is that a new word? Okay, we're gonna go with that one. That's
Okay.
discerned was what I meant to say. But this idea of really being in the energy that is and not seeing how others could have it better. That's again, we're back to comparing, right? Jackie,
And
you want to chime in?
yeah, I wanted to chime in about the birthing story. Sorry, my voice is a little, I'm raspy. I have a cold, but I'm
Sexy
parked
is
and
sexy. I'm with
yeah,
you.
rawr. But I'm parked. I got here safely and I was a little lost when you were talking about the birth story, so I wasn't able to chime in. But now I can, and I have a poignant memory of when I was giving birth to my second son. When you go into that final phase of you're about to give birth and you literally leave your body and it's very primal and it's your way of getting to the final stage because you're in so much pain. I'll never forget that moment twofold. One being like, I'm going to die, literally said, I am going to die. And my doula is like, you are doing great. You are not going to die. And the next thing out of my mouth was, I need my mom to stop talking in the back of the room on the phone. If she wants to talk to someone, she needs to get out of the room. I need the lights off. I need darkness and quiet, please. And I was aggro. I was like, I went into another world of like, I
You
need to
were
birth.
fierce. You were a fierce birthing
Yeah.
mama. That's what you were.
Yeah, and I did it natural, right? I was that tiger in the middle of the road. Like when you said that, I'm like, that was me. I had no drugs. I wanted to do it naturally. But to do that, I needed space and I needed quiet and dark. And I felt just like really violated, like, just give me what I need, right? But it was my mom whispering in the back of the room, whispering. And that was too much to handle. But it goes to your point of like you go out of your brain, you need to do what's right in front of you then, and no judgment, just be in the moment, right? We can all escape reality sometimes and just be with what feels good and what feels right, not what someone else wants or what life expects of us. It's like, what do you want right now? So anyways, I had to share that.
I'm going to take that and fly with it, baby. Because guess what? I get to birth. We get to birth. All of us get to birth now. This moment, we birth it now.
Yes.
And we decide, who's in our field. And if
Yeah.
something isn't feeling resonant, we choose.
Yes,
And,
yes,
I'm
yes.
going to tell you about the whispery thing. Like in like Jewish culturally, I don't know why, maybe other religions and people do too, but like when they would talk about something that was like bad or scary, they'd like whisper it. Like they'd say, "Did you hear about the so-and-so cousin that has cancer?" Like not saying the whole word, but like they're going to whisper it because if we say it out loud, we're like bringing something to it. But whispering it's underneath its truth, right? And it's a judgment as well. It's embedded in judgment. We're going to scream to the roof, to the ceiling, to the heavens, our beingness. And no one can take that away.
Yeah.
And it's that sacred container. that we're in, as you were speaking into, in that birth way that says, for me to feel me, I am here to feel me.
And I think I took too from your story, Jackie, birth a reality, right? Like we birth our own reality, you know, like our well-meaning, loving, you know, and I've been in the room with my daughter and I was like, oh, she needs some quiet. She needs some dark. And I said, baby, do you want me to ask, you know, everyone to leave or whatever? And she's like, oh, for God's sake, please do, you know, because I'm usually in a situation, I don't know, just life shows up as like, okay, just really intuitive to the energy, do. But she's a little bit quieter. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't take over the experience. And we had to find that balance between like, oh, life is telling me to do this thing, just do it. Cause she's like, mommy, please stop asking me, you know, but I didn't want to insert myself anyway.
Yeah.
And so we took her in the other room. She got in the tub. It was dark. And she she needed to do just like you said, Jackie. She needed to yell. She needed to cry. She needed to cuss.
Yeah.
And she needed to know, honey, this is all normal. It's okay. Let it rip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then there we went to the next phase. But I was laughing too when you were saying that, Jackie, because when my second one was born, I thought he was going to be born on the side of the freeway. And luckily that didn't happen. But then we got to the hospital, the little intern guy was on duty and he said, well, your doctor won't be here till the morning. I said, well, this baby is not staying here till the morning. He is coming. And he's like, I don't know anything about birthing a baby. I was like, let me just tell you something, dude. All you need to do is catch. If you drop my baby, I'm going to kick your, you know what? I said, you know, I said, so just catch. Just don't let him fall on the floor. He's doing all the work. I could feel it. And sure enough, they go away for a little bit. They come back and he's like, oh my God, I could see his head. He's like, wait, don't push. I was like, I'm not pushing. I was like, mister. And then I just said to the nurse, could you please get up here and catch my child when he comes out? And she looks at him and she looks at me and she's like, she just slid him over. She's like, I got him, mama. Your baby didn't fall on the floor. And the intern's like standing there looking like he just was clueless, bless his little heart. And my mom was looking at me and she's like, you did so good. I thought you were going to kick him. I said, I thought about it. You know what I mean? But where I'm going with that is because what Anne was saying about the birthing, right? We do birth our own reality. And there's something about inner, you know, like that inner standing. There's a way that life like happens. And I think sometimes we make it complicated or we create some bars or some bondage when if you would have just said, okay, well, my mom's here for me and just ignored it instead of saying, this is what I need. Right. I love what you were saying, Anne, about like, pay attention to how that's feeling. I kept seeing the image of the torus when you were talking about what's resonant and what's dissonant. That same quote that Tesla said, Albert Einstein says, it's not personal, it's physics. It's all energy, frequency, and vibration. And so that's something that like we can tell when something is a little off for us. It doesn't have anything to do necessarily with the other person. They just might be a reflection of that. And so like if we tweak in here, as Anne was saying, like if it's like, wait a minute, like how many times do we push past that? Like whether it's something tells you to get off here on the freeway or don't answer the phone. Someone called today and this person is homeless and yada, yada. And I knew not to answer the phone, but my brain overrode my heart. And I had to say, you know what? I love you and I have to go. And then
that's sovereignty. That is the sovereignty. That is the sovereignty to choose and choose and choose again. And when we line up with another's needs, and this is kind of playing into that herd mentality as well, that herd concept, like as that we're holding the container for the whole. When, not if, but I'm going with when each one of us recognizes our true sovereignty as a collective. Yeah, Brenda.
And I love that you said sovereignty because that is a synonym for freedom. And I love the fact that because freedom has, you know, an energy that the world gives it that is a little bit lower.
It's from outside. I'm going
what
to give you
we do
freedom.
it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but it's about sovereignty
Inner
from
freedom.
within coming out.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that doesn't mean better than, or I'm the queen, or, you know, anything like
And that
I'm the
we,
queen of me.
yes.
I'm the queen of me. But
Well, this is the thing. How do we stand in our I am, and it has nothing to do with anybody else? Okay.
Yes.
So I am God, not your God, not God over you, not God in replacement of anything. I am the queen. I am. When we all stand in that, we're not doing it for anybody else. We're not preventing. You know, this is, I love Worship Yourself Wednesday, Toot Your Horn Tuesday. Like, I love these things because we as a culture, as humanity, have been told, don't push it. Don't push yourself in other people's stuff. Don't, you know, you're bragging, you're boasting. We are living, breathing examples of celebrating our greatness.
Yes.
Mhm.
And if you don't feel great, because forever, whatever you got going on for you, well, that's your journey. Like, I am not here to say my greatness is anything other than a reflection of your greatness.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Brenda?
and it's about choice too. And what are the tough questions that I'm willing to ask myself to
Mhm.
either transform, rebirth, surrender what is working, what's not working, really looking at it and encouraging others to ask those tough questions. That's really all I can do.
Well,
Absolutely.
and the question of what do I need to do to protect myself? Because like something that just came up for me was the phone call that you gave the example, you know, should I pick up or not? I used to always not pick up the phone from my brother and dad at night because I knew they would be drunk. And I got burnt so many times of picking up the phone because I felt like I had to. They were thinking of me. I don't want to make them feel like I'm not available. But then I would just hurt after. And so it was like, if they really want to talk to me, they can call me during the day when they're sober. I don't want to talk to them when they're drunk. And changing that to protect myself, not because I don't love them or anything else, then I don't want to talk to them right now. Right. And that was hard. And it took a long time to get to that point of not feeling guilty or sad or angry and just, this is a decision I'm going to make, right? With not all the emotions around it, but that took a long time. And they're both now sober, you know, years
Okay,
later.
I'm so happy you brought that in. I do happen to have a little bit of insight in that beautiful creature over there in the car. And I will say that, you know, having witnessed you in your sovereignty, Jackie, allowed them theirs and their journey. And it's that idea of as we rise, we will invite others to rise with us, or we will stay in the frequency or the vibration that they're offering. Like, these are the choices, right? And I love that you brought that forth because you chose you. You allowed them to choose themselves. This
Yeah.
is the empath energy is enabling. I have a new word. It's called intuipath. Okay? Intuipath. It's taking intuition and empathy, zhuzhing them together and recognizing that I intuitively am aware that you have a situation over there and I love you. I'm working up the words for the whole like definition situation, but that is the essence of it, that I see you where you're at and I do not need to fix anything for you. I hold that.
Love it. Woo!
Yeah. So
Woo!
this is that place. We all are intuitive. Every one of us, telepathic, clair, whateverness. I don't care what word you use for it. We all have that inner standing, that inner knowing. And as we breathe and be as that, we are calling forth. We're here on this planet right now. You all feel it. We are rising. We are awakening. There is consciousness there's clarity that's coming into the field because each one of us is adding to that. And
Absolutely.
that is it's the Christ consciousness. It,
Absolutely.
it's the divine I am. It's the presence, the resonance. It's the LOVE, love.
Yes, yes. I love that you presence that, Jacqueline, because that's really helpful for me. And then where it took us was like, oh, if I would have, not if I would have, I returned to my sovereignty when I said, I love you and I have to go. You know what I mean? And so, yes, I came up in that era of service is the price you pay for the space you occupy. And I watched my mother serve in that way. And then I did that many times to the detriment of my health. And and so now I'm shifting out of that, right? Not that my health isn't where it was there, but you know what I'm saying? Like I'm shifting out of that mindset. And I love when you said, and about the sovereignty and also the intuition. And when you were talking, Jackie, I was hearing like, oh, you not answering the phone is an act of self-love, right? If I want to be the experience that I want to have in the world, then now life is calling for me to love me in a different way. And that's what I get to model, right? That's what I get to show up as. You know what I mean? And I love what you said too, Anne, about when we think we have to help this person out of a situation, we're either holding them in this frequency and we're jumping into that frequency and vibration and energy with them, or I'm holding me here, so I'm holding you here. And when you get there, if you get there, not that there's really anywhere to go, you know what I mean? That's on you, but that can never happen if I keep ignoring my own sovereignty and dipping, down into that. And it's that old story, right? The one about like the person's walking down the street and there's a pothole and people keep stepping in it, and then there's somebody that walks by and was like jumps down in the pothole, and the person's like, you're crazy, why'd you jump down in here? And they're like, I know the way out, do you want to come? But the person starts to leave, you know what I mean? So like either you come or you don't come, you know what I mean? And so that's where and what freedom there is in that. We need to help others. Sometimes people even ask. Byron Katie says advice or that type of assistance is violence. And at first I used to be like, what? And then I started to see it. And something else, we were talking about children. I think my son was in the 7th grade, and I was sitting on the ground at the football game, and oh my gosh, you guys, all of a sudden I saw him as like 3 years old. I don't know why. That boy was bright. He was whatever. I was an only child. So I never really felt like equipped to be his mother. I felt I didn't grow up around boys, and I just thought, I don't know anything. Like I just felt inadequate from start to finish. And when I was sitting there, I was watching him play. He was a tight end. He's tall, he's thin. Like, why do you want to play football? Gonna get crushed or whatever. I saw him running with that ball and I was like, oh my God, you're treating him like a wounded bird. He's not wounded. He's not missing a wing. He's an eagle. And he doesn't need you to feel that way. He needs you to see who he really is. So after the game, he got pummeled so many times. He's like, when this season is over, I'm never playing this again, Mom. He's like, I'm a little too thin for all that. But he wanted the experience. He has the hype for basketball, but he didn't want to do that. So anyway, and so I said to him, oh, my love, I need to make an apology to you. I need to make an amends. I said, I've been thinking, because I don't know anything about being a man and a boy and all of the things. And, I read books and I've tried stuff or whatever. I didn't feel adequate to be your mom. And so that may have impacted you, making you think like, I don't believe in you, or I don't think you're smart enough or whatever. And so he said, yeah, it makes me feel stupid. And oh my gosh, I was a wreck. But I just said, so I want to take that back from you and say, that's all my shit. You don't have to take that on. And I can see how that's not serving us. So I'm going to let that go. You are powerful, one of the smartest people I know, and you can do anything you put your mind to. And that's how I'm going to invest in you moving forward. As it comes to your schooling, if you don't want to do your homework, that's your business. You got to graduate by this time. And if you need a tutor, if you need a, whatever, you let me know and I'll make that happen. And I'm not saying like I didn't, it was the way that I was parenting. I was hovering over him like you would if you brought in a wounded pet, instead of like respecting that he's a free being. He's got his way. Let's find our way and then nurture that greatness. And right after that, I found this thing about in the Indian culture, in the American culture, if our child has a problem with something, like we invest all this money in it. Well, in the Indian culture, they nurture whatever your child is really good at. They invest all their money in the coaches and the whatever, because what translates from that is they bring that strength over to this new thing that we would call a challenge, right? In an excitement, curious kind of way. They bring that mastery over here and they're like, oh, I'm going to figure this out. Oh my gosh, it completely shifted our relationship. Completely shifted our relationship.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much because I have a 7th and a 5th grader, and I have 2 boys, and I'm the only female in the house. And oftentimes I can so relate to that because it's like we're very different, right? The male, female. But I want to share one football story because I had to get over my fear. My boys are extremely athletic. They love football and baseball. They're also very thin. They're not super big, but the concussions, the head trauma, the fear of the tackle football was all in my head. They wanted to do it. They were little. They've been doing tackle football for 3 years. They excel. They love it. But they had to get mama on board to allow them to do it and to get over my fear. And it's so ironic because, knock on wood, for 3 years we've had no injuries, and my son got hurt in baseball, which no one talks about, as a pitcher on the mound with a baseball flying to his head with no protection. So it was really an interesting lesson that it's all 2 things: perception. Football is dangerous. Well, wow, my son got hurt in baseball. No one talks about baseball being dangerous, but also living in the moment. It brings them so much joy. They love it. They don't complain. And the lessons they learn on teamwork and perseverance, strength, never to give up, like that is all over, trumps the fear and the risk, because every day there's risk in life. So I've come a long way, and just watching them shine, supporting them and not holding them back, letting life unfold. Now, could they get hurt? Absolutely. But could we all die in a car accident? Absolutely. So that's kind of, a lot of moms have talked to me. A lot of their friends' moms will come to me and ask and talk. And that's kind of what I say. I'm like, we live in the moment. I support their dreams. We make choices every day. And I'm going to let them do what they want to do and pray that they stay safe and healthy. That's all I feel like I can do. I feel like the opposite is worse. If I was to hold them back, then they're going to resent me, have anger towards me, or, and I don't want that. So I love that story. I'm living that right now. And yeah, it meant a lot.
I love that we're dancing here. Brenda, you want to chime in? Yeah.
I just wanted to talk about the word help. And I love both of your stories because my daughter, who's now 48, but she has taught me way long time ago that helping her is not what she needs. She needs to be listened to. So I've learned to ask her and anyone else, would you like my thoughts about that? Or would you like what that's bringing up for me? And if she says no, then it's zip it, honor her choice, and love her unconditionally. And it's really hard for moms to zip it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
this is called freeing our parenting right now.
Right.
We've shifted a little bit.
Yes.
And
Right.
this is so powerful. And we've been talking about birth, we've been talking about death.
Yeah.
We are, as a female, as a woman who gave birth, and the 4 of us in this container have that experience. We are the vehicle that allowed those beings to be on the planet. Okay. That is our only role. Keeping
Yep.
them alive is not our job.
Yep. Yep.
And, you know, nobody wants their kid to die. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants anybody to die when you're a human coming from a human perspective. Guess what? Death is freedom,
Yep. 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 Yep.
especially from the container that we see this life. So here's the thing. Your life is freedom when you be here now.
Yep.
Death
Yep.
is freedom when you be here now. Parenting is freedom
When you
when you
be
be
here
here
now.
now. And when you trust that their life is for them and you are,
Ooh, this is so
you're a
good.
recipient of their experience because you were the vehicle that they came through. And even as the male sperm situation or whatever dynamic that is, or whatever you're parenting, 2 women, 2 men, this is the whole thing, is that we are here to hold space for them, not to mold them, not to
Yep.
train
Yep. Yep.
them, not to
Yep.
Not
teach
to
them,
control them.
and
Yep.
definitely not to control them. Like control, that's you're got a whole, that's a whole other conversation, right? But that is the idea, the essence of what we're speaking into.
Yes. Yes.
And to be with the love that they are
That we are,
and that
right?
we
That
are,
we are
because that's the
together.
reflection. Yeah.
Well, who is it? Osho says, "And think, walk without feet, think without mind, fly without wings. That you are the mother of Buddha." And that was so. What is Buddha? Be a lamp unto thyself. Let them be a lamp unto thyself. And after I found Byron Katie, they would ask me stuff, and I was like, "Well, what do you think you should do?" I started saying, "Like, you're one of the smartest people I know. What do you think about that?" And they were like, "Are you serious? Are you not going to tell me what to do?" And I was like, "I'm totally serious. No, I'm not going to tell you what to do." You know what I mean? And it was such a shift. And I remember I was having a rough time with him. He was about 12 and I was at the lake and I was crying. And my girlfriend goes, "Do you have that Abraham tape I gave you?" And I was like, "Yeah, the one about the grandparents." She's like, "Listen to that and treat them the way grandparents do."
Oh,
And
wow.
basically what they said was, and now I'm a grandparent, right? And my kids were like, "We think you love them more than me." And I was like, anyway, I won't, that's a conversation for another time. And I said, "Here's the thing. I didn't teach you guys anything. We grew together. You had your unique perspective. I had my unique perspective. And if we're really honest, when things were rough between us, someone was trying to dominate somebody else's thing, and your freedom was being impeded, or that's not the right word, but y'all know where I'm going.
Mhm.
And so that was the conflict, but the conflict wasn't personal. I was in your business, or you were in my business, or we were in each other's business. You know what I mean? And so that is, I love where this is going, what you're saying here, Anne, because I feel like in this country we have parenting, we have it off, but it's the microcosm of the macrocosm.
Helicopter.
Do things in the
Yeah.
society. But if we can see that each person, like you're saying, like they are the greatness, they are the infinite made manifest. They know, no, they might say, "Hey, can you help me do this thing? Or can you support me in this way?" Then you're at choice. But again, where are we coming from in that choice? Am I coming from like, "Oh, they need my help, or they're less, or or am I, is the support I'm offering in service to their greatness?" You know what I
We
mean?
are
That's
walking
each other.
ourselves home. And we
Yes.
are walking everyone home that is witness to our walking ourselves home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brenda?
I love these stories because it reminded me of a story when my daughter was like 7. We'd moved into a new place, and some of her father's, my ex-husband's stuff was there, and she found a package of Marlboro cigarettes. And I asked her to throw them away. And then later on, I found them open in her room. I lost it. And I went, "Julie, I need you to be in your room. I need to calm down. I'm going to my room." And then when I calmed down, I said, "Julie," because she had a dad and a stepmom that smoked.
Mhm.
I said, "Julie, would you like me to teach you how to smoke and to try a cigarette?" 7 years old, right? I did that for her. And to this day, she will not have anybody smoke around her because she remembers that. I honored her and I said, now are you ready to throw these away? She says, yes, Mama, I want to throw them away. And she
Oh,
tore them all up really tiny and threw it all away.
I love this. So here's this thing. When we say no, what do they want? They want to get on.
Yep. Yep.
oh yeah.
No, the opposite of no is on. Like you say no, it's on.
Oh yeah.
On like Donkey Kong, right? Like on, on, on. I love this. Flip that shit. No, say yes. That's say, S-E-Y. When we say yes, we're saying, I know that's not, and that's not what we have in English, but I'm making it up. So
Yeah.
yes is say, and that's be.
Yep. Yep.
So, so potent. We in this collective have solved all the world's problems.
We
Yeah.
have.
But that even in that moment, that's the ego, right?
Yeah.
So this is
Absolutely.
where we are given opportunity after opportunity to be here now and to be with what is. And I am so honored to witness this container light up with presence, love, trust. And we walk away from this moment as freedom. And every being that we are in relation with will experience that. And I didn't tell you, Alva, but I've got something special that I have found and I'm pulling in today. And
Okay.
so, and I also desire to have you share your piece.
Okay.
So we're gonna take all of this, the word stuff, which is super important, and we're gonna bring it into the beingness. So I'm gonna say thank you from my whole beingness for me. I'm thanking myself for being and for witnessing and for existing as love so that I may be the essence for all that be. So, Alva, I'm going to give you the floor, and when you're complete, I will take it from there.
Okay.
And then at the end of that, I'm going to allow us all to take that inner quiet and be with that. And then I know we will all see each other in the container of love and light. Okay.
All right, ladies. Woo. I just invite us to close our eyes if that resonates with you, and place your left hand in your heart space, smack dab in the center of your chest, and your right hand on your belly, and onto our field of sovereignty and love. And just breathe and drop into the energy that is moving in our bodies. This is what freedom feels like. This is what love feels like. This is what joy feels like. This is what gratitude feels like. This is what divine appointment, divine design feels like. This is what being here now feels like, where all of our needs were met. Questions that we didn't even know that we had came up and out in this discussion. All we had to do was show up. We don't have to take any notes. Just be. Know that when the next kerfluffle pops up, you just be with it. It's not good. It's not bad. It's operating for us. We stay centered in love and in our sovereignty. We are free. We are as free as we choose to be. Can we see through the eyes of freedom? Can we feel through the heart of freedom? Can we speak? Can we be freedom's voice? Can we be the ears of freedom? Can we hear through that? Not just our freedom, but the freedom of the soul in front of us, be it our child or our partner, someone at the grocery store, at the gas station, someone having a hard day and losing their shit. Let's take a collective breath together, breathing in. And we take this beautiful vibration, this beautiful energy, this beautiful frequency that is so perfect for us, that this container created, whether you are here with us in person or you are watching the replay. You feel and hear the words of Martin Luther King, "Let freedom ring." And I also hear my beloved Maharaji, "Lose yourself in love." And the only way we can do that, as the love messenger Anne has said, is to be here now with whatever is in front of us, fully present, fully open, fully available, with curiosity and wonder and excitement about, ooh, what is this yummylicious experience going to grow, open, and express and ripple out as. One more last breath together. We are complete.
As we sit in stillness, in presence, with your hand lovingly placed on your heart and your belly, your personal power, your solar plexus. Breathe. Feel your breath drop deep into the belly, into the earth of you. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through soft lips. Let's do this 3 times. Inhale through the nose. Through soft lips. Now I invite you to speak out loud and gently. I call back all parts of me from the past, from the future, from the illusion of becoming. I return to the now, to the field of I am. Nothing to fix, nothing to prove, only to remember. Breathe again. Let silence speak. Now, with presence in your tone, speak. I release the performer. I release the persona. I release the projection. I am not the one who teaches. I am the one who transmits. I am the stillness beneath the sound. I am presence embodied. Feel this. Allow this. Be this. Letting your body soften, letting your heart open. I invite you now to open your eyes, to look at you, and to speak these words. From this space, I serve. From this stillness, I speak. From this breath, I remember. It is my honor to be and to see and to witness, to trust and to love. You are free. I am free. And we be. All right, let's wrap it around. Let's do that thing we love to do. Hug ourselves. So much joy. So much magic. Gratitude and bewilderment. I love you so much. If you feel the desire to come off mute and share your voice, enjoy being you for the rest of your life.
With deep gratitude to all of you and to the divine.
Yes. And to you.
Yep.
And I just wanted to say that was so beautiful. Thank you for giving me this time, that ride, and just starting my day at this place is amazing. And
Yeah.
your last words that resonated so much, the freedom to not check a fucking box, to not do, to not take notes, to not anything. It's like, that's my freedom of just being. Though it's like that 10,000 pounds, just that sentence came off my shoulders, because I always feel so much weight to do. So thank you, because that really stuck. And it's like, today I'm just going to be. I'm not doing anything. I'm going to be. Thank you.
Well, yes, it comes in the form of being human beings, right? We're not human doings. And in that, and we're beyond human beings. We are being.
And I
Yes.
love that. I love today's session. I needed it. I thank you. And it was so great to be live, that I had the chance to be live. Thank you, sweetie.
I love
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much, Alva, for sharing your sovereignty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Alva,
thank
thank you
you.
And
for
by the
playing.
way, I thought you were 30. I mean, are you kidding me? How can you be a grandma? You look great. I mean, when you said you were 60, I'm like, what?
Yeah, what is
No,
age,
thank
right? What
you.
is a number?
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah,
are,
it's just a
I
number.
am.
Yeah. No, today it was a beautiful, intimate group. And whoever's watching, you know, I know a lot of people will get a lot out of this video, but I loved our quartet.
Yes. And
It was beautiful.
there is potency in what became today in this container. And I am sharing it live. It's going out because this is an offering that we have co-created in our beingness and is serving for all to witness.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you for participating to create this container, you beautiful ones. And Alva, my beautiful co-host,
Yeah.
your light and your wisdom with what we are, it's magic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mwah.
We are magic.
We are
Yes, yes,
magic.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Magic. Lovely.
Right.
Enjoy.
Have a great weekend. Enjoy Jackson,
Enjoy the
Brenda, and
rest
your
of
brother.
your day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love you.
Enjoy.
Well,
Love
take care.
y'all.
Thank you
Bye.
so
Nice
much.
meeting you, Alva.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for being with us.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mwah.